St. Francis de Sales. St. Francis de Sales was born August 21st, 1567. He died December 28th, 1622 in France. He was the eldest of 13 children and was born into a family of nobility. His father sent him to study at the University of Paris. And after 6 years, Francis was not only knowledgeable in many areas, he was a skilled swordsman, an expert horseman, and a superb dancer. Because his father wanted him to become a lawyer, Francis next studied at the University of Padua in Italy. Francis's father expected his son to marry after he finished his studies. Francis, however, wanted to serve God as a priest. His father finally agreed to let him. 6 months later, Francis was ordained a priest. Francis and his cousin Louis, who was also a priest, they volunteered to work in Chablais, where religious wars were taking place. They visited homes and preached. The work was so discouraging that after 4 months, Louis left. Francis then tried another tactic. He wrote a weekly essay explaining the faith and passed out copies. This, coupled with his simple, powerful message, led most of the people he reached to accept the Catholic faith. Francis was next made a bishop of Geneva. As a bishop, he directed priests and others in the religious life and trained lay people to teach catechism classes. One person Francis guided was Saint Jane Frances Chantal. He helped her to found the Visitation Convent. With respect to a writer, to reach more people, Francis wrote a book called The Introduction to the Devout Life. In this book, it shows that everyone can grow in holiness. One of Francis's mottos was, "Do everything with love." St. Vincent de Paul, who knew Francis de Sales, said that Francis spoke and acted just the way he imagined Jesus would. Francis had a quick temper when he was a boy, but by the time he had grown up, he had such self-control that he was called the gentleman saint. In his writings, Francis tells people how he learned to control his anger. Every time he offended someone by his angry words or actions, Francis would do an act of penance. Soon he began to think before he spoke or acted. Francis was declared a doctor of the church. He is the patron of journalists, editors, and writers. So let's turn to St. Francis de Sales and let's pray to him. And we love God. And this is one of his immortal sayings. He says, "The measure with which we love God is to love God without measure."